The breaking news, stay at home, that is the order tonight.
March 2020, the month we were all told to stay inside, quarantined due to the coronavirus pandemic. We all stopped going to work, going to school in person, and some of us stopped going outside completely. We kept busy inside, picking up new hobbies like watching anime, which was a popular one, catching up on reading, and playing video games.
One shot, one shot, one shot, one shot.
I did all those, but two things which, even to this day, almost 3 years later, are two huge passions of mine. I've always wanted to be a filmmaker, and during COVID I found wonder and beauty in nature documentaries. I've never seen documentaries as a form of legit filmmaking. Shows like Our Planet, Planet Earth, Down to Earth with Zac Efron can be entertained and stunned at the beauty of wildlife and nature. It made me realize that nature can be cinematic. It made me want to go outside and adventure off in a time where that was not possible. My second passion was photography. I've been taking pictures before COVID, but during this period is where I really made time for it, because I had it. I found myself going out to empty parks and taking pictures, trying to get better, and trying to sort of find my look and style, while also being just grateful to be alive and outside. You see, stopping to stare and appreciate nature around me made me realize that I don't need to go to Africa to see wildlife, that I didn't need to travel to Southeast Asia, Australia, the Chilean Patagonia to see these incredible landscapes. I had everything I needed here in California. So California is a unique biome in the sense that we have various ecosystems here. From beaches and oceans, yes, the ocean and beaches are ecosystems that sustain thousands of organisms, from small mollusks to sea lions. A lot of the marine life here depend on beach ecosystems, and so do we. To the sizzling desert. A fourth of California is desert, and with it comes plant life adapted to survive these harsh conditions. California can also sustain other types of ecosystems, like this jungle system and this bamboo forest. These biomes can be found at various arboretums and wildlife sanctuaries and can be sustained provided the necessary rainfall and water, but due to climate change has been harder in recent times. Now back to more native landscapes. Coastal forests are also a big ecosystem found here. Although mostly found in Northern California, some redwood forests like this one can be found in Southern California. Another perk of California is that everything is within a 1-hour driving distance of each other. So if these coastal forests aren't your thing, then maybe these snowy forests are. Mount Body, which is part of the Angeles National Forest, sits at about 4,100 feet of elevation and is the highest point in LA County. The Angeles Forest covers a total of 700,176 acres. So much nature and so much untouched wildlife to explore. So with all that, I knew I had to explore all of it before I can even think about the rest of the world. So this being episode 1, we're going to the San Diego Zoo Safari Park to meet some active and some not so active animals. Yeah, I know. The zoo isn't nature, or the animals are in cages. I know. But what do you want me to do? Like I said, I can't fly to Africa to see cheetahs, so this will do for now. Plus, the safari park does good work for the animals. The safari park opened with one purpose: conservation. More on that as we go. Also, before I forget, the pictures taken today were on film. I probably should have shot on digital with a telephoto lens, as I don't have a telephoto lens for my film camera, but it's okay, I still love my shots. All of these were taken on my Voigtlander 35 color scope board on Portra 400. First up on the day's agenda was to visit the West African gorilla. An endangered species, like most of the animals here, the safari park does good in trying to grow the worldwide gorilla population and have a few of these in custody, which they protect and feed. Here's his smaller cousin. A little info about the park: it opened in May 1972 and it currently has over 3,000 animals and 400 species. This one right here is an okapi, a distant relative of the zebra, which was only discovered by scientists 100 years ago, so a fairly relatively new species. A great thing about the safari park is that it's just that, a park. It felt like you were walking around in a giant arboretum. It wasn't like the zoos you see on TV, where it's just like a bunch of cages and animals. The safari park actually had a lot of vegetation, different botanical sections, ponds, streams as you walked around, which I thought was great because it added to the experience and added to the environment of these animals. Here's a couple shots. While not being anything special, I do like them because they showcase the environmental greenery that I was talking about. These condors aren't the California condor, but it is a great segue to speak on the conservation work the park and the Wildlife Alliance do. The safari park played a big role in the preservation of these animals. In the 80s, due to human poaching, pollution, and the loss of habitat, the population of the condor was down to 22 in the world. With the California Condor Recovery Program, the population has grown to more than 500, with half of them free in the wild. The safari park has a few here in their breeding program to keep the population going. As I mentioned earlier, the safari park has these great immersive habitats for the animals. It was great seeing this bird exhibit without cages because it let them roam free and just fly around. Probably my favorite exhibit at the safari park. The cheetah was probably one of the animals I wanted to see the most. The fastest land animal, being able to run at speeds of 50 to 80 miles per hour. Yo, what the dog doing? No need to worry, the cheetah will not harm the doggo. The dog, in fact, is a companion animal. Buddy, the dog, was raised from a puppy alongside the cheetah. They grew up together and are their own little pack. That's why the cheetah doesn't go near them, doesn't harm them, nothing, because they kind of grew up together. Another major highlight and a must-do at the park is the tram. The Africa tram takes you on a tour around the savanna habitats. where one can see different species like the white African rhino, antelope, giraffe, zebras, and many more. The savanna habitat is about 2.5 miles long, giving the animals plenty of room to be roaming around, to interact, and kind of just see how they would be in the wild. Many of the creatures found on the Africa tramp are either threatened or on the endangered species list. I know that this area can't replicate the actual wild plains of Africa, but in a sense, being here at the park is a good thing. Going back to conservationism, these animals in the wild are hunted by poachers, dislocated due to loss of habitat, and other natural causes. What being at the park does is give them a safer and longer life than they would in the wild. They are able to breed due to the zoo's breeding programs, and their species numbers can grow back up steadily. The Safari Park is part of the Wildlife Alliance that has conservation hubs all around the world. These hubs are in places where certain species need help, and in these hubs, researchers and scientists find out ways to help these species and the ecosystems around them. They spend lots of resources in these hubs, but the return is always greater. The return being stable ecosystems and a healthier planet. Another highlight. Well, the whole safari park is a highlight, but next up is the tiger exhibit. The tiger species found here is the Sumatran tiger. A fully grown tiger could weigh anywhere from 200 to 300 pounds. They have a bite strength of about 1,000 pounds. The Sumatran tiger is an apex predator, so why is it critically endangered? Like many of the animals found at the park, few are left in the world. The park is doing their best to keep a stable breeding program for the tigers and in order to get their populations back up. Currently, there is only 400 left in the world. Getting to the last section of the park, so I'll give you guys my final thoughts. The park as a whole is incredible. There is so much to see and explore. Even if the animals aren't active or an exhibit is closed, just being there in the different ecosystem that the zoo provides is really cool. The safari park has cheetah runs, hot air balloon rides, and a close-up safari cart experience. But please note that these are premium attractions which come at a cost. The zoo caretakers are all passionate about the animals, so it adds to this experience. It feels really authentic. Like I said, the safari park is on a mission of conservationism to help these endangered animals. So what can we do to help? You can easily help out by simply visiting the park. Visiting the safari park helps by funding the conservation hubs and the zoo, and various programs they have throughout the park, like the breeding program and the California Condor program. If you want to escape the noise of the city, or need a date idea, or are trying to have a fun family day, I highly recommend the safari park. You can also further help by donating and sponsoring animals. The link is in the description if you want to see ways you could help. So, what now? I think being outdoors and reconnecting with nature is probably my goal for this year. For me, I want to continue to grow as a filmmaker and to continue to document the wonders of nature and my experiences. Life can get pretty rough, everything is so expensive, and we tend to get caught up in the materialistic and hustle culture that is society. Life just passes one by, and it seems that you have to pay to be alive. Pay to be alive in the sense that you gotta work 5 to 6 days just to be in the mix, and it could get stressful. But that's why nature is the perfect remedy. It's free, it's inclusive, it's there for all of us. Just pack some sandwiches, get some gas, and you get lost for days and just reconnect. Yep, I think that's a move for 2023. Chasing sunsets and waterfalls and documenting them as I go. See you guys later. Peace.